here in this region as well. So there's plenty to see and do as we go past the beautiful lakes. There's 5 lakes here for swimming, fishing and camping, as well as the Brandenburger Acher River and the Inn River flowing through the small town. It's a real outdoor place that we are heading through now. Soon the riders will cross over the Inn River and head towards the west, heading towards Rattenberg, where the junior women's road race started this morning. A little bit calm in the peloton now. Just caught sight of Zanimadzur of Belarus. And still trying to come back is the French rider who had that problem just a little while ago. Looks like he's getting there, Louis Barr. Thanks for so many messages this afternoon. Big crash. A few riders now have hit the deck. I just said it was calm. And then you suddenly see loads of riders hit the deck. Held up there is Andrew Vollmer of United States of America. Also held up is one of the British riders, and that looks like Mason Holliman. A few other riders looking to try and ride themselves up. A problem there for Jakob and Hinnick. Also a problem there for Tyler Lindorf of Australia. Loads of riders on the deck. Tyler Lindorf looking for problem to be changed. Jakob Hinsol Madsen, another problem for the Danish rider. Loads of riders hitting the deck that time. It was one of those moments of calm, and that's what can tend to happen. Everyone gets that full sense of security, and then suddenly they all hit the deck, particularly in junior racing. Kulikov of Russia is also there. Let's see what happened. Probably just a big touch of wheels, and then they all went down on the right-hand side. That was a big crash. Luckily, everyone seems to be okay. Ricardo Broxham trying to get through for South Africa. Also being held up there was Dennis Graswald, the French rider there wearing number 38, Alex Bourdin. Just seeing whether we can see the crash happening there on the other side. Started to see things split. Everyone looking around, knowing that a few riders had gone. 96 kilometres to go, and the Austrian rider, I'm not sure, is going to continue. Martin Messner, is he going to be okay? So the peloton will come back together. 95 kilometres to go. We've had this crash, and the Austrian rider trying to get back into the peloton as quickly as he possibly can. But now it looks like the United States of America are starting to turn the pressure on everyone else. We've gone through that magical point with 100k to go. And there's another, yeah, you can see now there's a lot of riders still out of the back of this peloton. And they're going to have to try and, oh, another crash. A few riders have hit the deck here. One of them is Raphael da Costa of France, and that's a very heavy crash. He looks like that's hurt. So Raphael da Costa trying to get back in here. He's waiting for a car to come up so he can do something about it. And Shimano have been very, very busy in the last 20 minutes. Punctures, crashes galore. The juniors are doing what they usually do, and it's very hectic indeed. 93 kilometers to go, and the American team are setting the pace on the front. Germany looking across to see what's going on. So will these riders get back in? That's the big question. Much smaller pack of riders. Over there on the right-hand side, number 57 is Axel van der Tuck. Yeah, much smaller group of riders. Diminished in numbers because of all these crashes. And Outback Seenland welcomes the riders coming past. So now you've got this selection of riders that's happened, and it's happened purely because of literally people falling off. Great Britain well represented at the front. And America, United States of America, certainly looking to keep the pressure on if they possibly can. 20 seconds is the gap between the two groups on the road, so things should come back together. Just looking back a little bit here, team cars in the gap, and let's just see the difference between the front group and the back group. There we are, there's the chase that's going on as the riders try to come back to the front. Looks like Russia, Poland, France in there, so are the Norwegians riders. One of the Australian riders trying to come back into the group. It's very, very fast, 91.5 kilometers to go. They've just been ticking on at a really nice pace. And the American team are not holding back for any riders who have crashed. Moving up on the outside there. Just looking to check, it wasn't Evenepoel. He's wearing number 13 today. Has he been held up by any crashes, or is he okay? Number 32 there from Germany, Felix Engelhardt, alongside number 36, Marius Meyerhofer. It's very warm out there now. Japan moving up. And the German team, looks like Evenepoel was perfectly okay. So not only is he a strong rider, he's also able to just surf the wheels and be in the right position. Past the next castle. And that was Matson Castle we just went past. Slowly but surely, all the riders are coming back into the convoy. And they're making their way past the cars. An important moment as they try to close the gap on everyone else. And they are going to come back now, just a few meters between the second major group and the front of the peloton, and then everything will be back together as expected. Well, the Dutch riders in that group. Looks like Enzo Leinzer coming safely back in, and an Australian rider joining back in quite nicely, so most of the key riders will be back in the front group. A little bit of a dangerous moment when you make your way past all the cars, especially in a group that size, and you get yourself back into the race. So everyone looks like they're now safely in. Much bigger peloton, everything rejoins. Belgium all chatting now at the front of the group with 88 kilometres to go, and another group of riders coming safely back in, and the Austrian rider who had all the problems, Jakob Reiter, is almost back in there. Jakob Reiter on the back of the group, just a couple of places in front of him is Aaron Doherty of Ireland. Still the tempo is on and everyone is just trying to stay in the wheels. There's going to be some tired legs at the end of this race. So loads of riders who were in that crash earlier on included Tyler Lindorf of Australia. Also in that crash was Francesca Rangel Held up was Dennis Grasvold of Norway. On the horizon for these riders then is the thoughts of the fact that they have got to get to this climb, and that's where things start to hit. They go through the bottom of the climb with around 69 k's to go, so we're 17 kilometers from the base of the climb. Number 105 trying to come back, Zianas Mazur of Belarus. No real action to talk of so far. We haven't had any attacks. That will wait until the climb, I'm sure, when we get to Nandvald. Still a big group of riders, diminished a little bit in numbers, but nothing major. Big question, can one of the African nations get on the podium? Africa Rising say that Biniam from Eritrea could be on the podium this afternoon. Let's see whether that actually happens. Biniam Girmay of Eritrea. Certainly I think that when we get onto this mountain climb that some of the African riders will ride really well up there, and I think Benaim Girmay is sitting over on the right hand side near the front, just behind the American squad, and looking pretty comfortable. Sweden also represented. The pace really, everyone sitting side by side. The United States of America are now taking control of the front of this race. Clearly they've got a race plan. Scooter Makato says, I'll take any American on the podium. Let's see whether it's possible. Well, this morning we didn't think about what was going to happen in the women's race. I know some of you are complaining that I've given out the result of the women's race. Sorry about that, but there we go. William Levy taking some bottles. Things are a bit flatter in this section. Feeding has been authorised by Race Radio. After 50k is when you're allowed to feed. So this rider is on bottle duty, William Levy. He goes back to the team car for the rest of his squad. How many bottles can he take? Well, he needs to take enough for his entire squad, which is 6 riders. Fredrik Wandahl, Fredrik Thomsen, Robin Skivelid, Jakob Hinsgaard Madsen and Axel Beschot Hansen. And the Danish team, of course, have ridden so well in the World Championships in the junior ranks over the last few years. Can't see if he's feeling a tempo. He's just sitting out the back, Mazur, Belarus. The USA clearly want to get to this first climb, having put everybody into an area of hurt. Ash Montgomery wants one of the New Zealanders to win. So wherever you are, wherever you're watching, thanks very much for joining us. This is the Junior Men's World Championship and we are looking forward to a great race. So far it's been fast, no major attacks, everything held together. "12 kilometres to go to the climb." There on the right hand side, it's ticking down. Americans are doing their work very early. This is Tratsburg Castle we're now going past. Another one of the landmarks along the way. So much to see in this particular area, and Tratsburg Castle is one of those that certainly up there on the side of the hill is one that everyone goes to. It's one of the most beautiful Renaissance capitals in the Alps, home to the Gauss-Einsenberg family. Castle has been invested in over the last 500 years to keep it in working order. Sections of the castle are open to the public, including the Habsburg Hall and the impressive courtyard in the middle. Now it's a long straight section following the Inn River all the way to Schwarz. We went there earlier on today, if you joined us for the junior women's race, known as the Silver Town, because it was the real heyday of silver mining in the 15th and 16th centuries. The Italian team come to the front. Everyone knows now that we are getting close to this important obstacle in the way of winning the world title. Stuart Pickering's watching, hello to you. Emily, wondering why the Americans are doing so much work right now. Great Britain moving up. These junior riders who watch so much racing on television now know exactly what to do. This is almost like the look of a World Tour peloton, isn't it? Albeit the riders are a little bit smaller, driving their way into the base of the climb. The question is, has their key rider got the ability to then do something about it once they get onto the climb? Well, certainly that rider on the front from the United States of America may well not have the legs left to join his teammates over the top, but he is certainly, without doubt, riding a good race. Small number of riders. There's definitely not 159 riders left in this peloton. Right along the banks of the Inn River now on the right-hand side. Stretching out into the distance to Schwarz. And then once we go through Schwarz, we are very close to this first climb. You can see just how hard it is in this race because of, even when you're 4 or 5 riders back, riders having to sprint out of all the corners just to stay in the wheels. So the tempo is very, very tough. The United States of America, I'm trying trying to dish this out to everyone. They want to make this race as hard as they possibly can. Heading past Freundsberg Castle, hosts the local history museum. The Kellerjoch mountain is just behind it, and it's a very popular hiking area. We went past this earlier on today in the junior women's race, perched up there on the hillside. And not far from the town of Pill now. This is Schwarz, where we've been knowing that we're getting close to the bottom of the climb. Only a few kilometres until we race through Turfens and then onto the hill. United States of America still riding the tempo on the front. These riders literally ride full pelt all the time until the legs give out. So 7 kilometres now of pacemaking. United States with 3 riders on the front of the group. They're going to unleash somebody when it gets to the climb. Clearly, one member of their team is feeling super good today. Garrison Quinn, Riley Sheehan, Quinn Simmons, Kevin Ver, Merker and Andrew Vollmer are the team of the United States. The Italians all grouped together. They don't seem to be working and worried about Remco Evenepoel, which is good that they're taking on the race. They believe he's beatable. Team in Telebus think Ricardo Broxham again. He's saving energy at the back. A lot of money, if there was bets being put on Ricardo Broxham of South Africa for today's race victory. That would be fantastic to see. Let's see if it does happen. Another team moving up on the right-hand side, as you can see. Looks like the Czech Republic arriving. The Italians are there, the Dutch are there, the Germans, Kazakhstan, United States of America, Germany. USA closing the road off, not letting anyone come through. They want control. It is a very big setup here. A bit of a warning to everyone that there's another island coming up. Now the work rate is very, very high. Let's hope that their teammate can deliver the goods on this climb. There's going to be some riders really suffering at this moment, particularly near the back. One Irish rider up near the front. The Australians also up there, which is good to see. Looks like they are starting to work their way forward, knowing that it's the time. So this climb is a real test for these riders. It's coming up shortly. Takes us 2.6 kilometres, average gradient 10.5%, ramps of around 14% in it, particularly at the bottom it ramps at 14, then there's a ramp of 13 and another ramp of 13 just before the top. Skirting their way through, another fast right-hander. Heading towards the first climb of the day, 73 kilometres to go. So there's a group of riders behind at 1 minute 35 seconds. And this is the upside down house in Vomperbach. Well, everything here is upside down. It's a popular attraction with families and children, fully furnished, but it's just the wrong way up. Interesting. It looks like it's just been turned over. It's not a very popular visitor attraction. Oh, a big crash. Loads of riders have hit the deck. Wow, a lot of riders there have hit the deck now, and there's a big attack. Who else has come down here? Well, Mason Holloman is down. Remco Evenepoel is also down, wearing number 13. Remco Evenepoel, there he is. He's been caught, the gold medalist in the time trial. Well, he's seemingly very, very calm right now. One rider down, the Italian rider getting some medical attention. Remco Evenepoel looking for... He looks like he's got a big problem with the bike. His teammate's not giving him the bike, so he needs a back wheel. Remco Evenepoel looking very, very calm. In fact, he's not looking calm anymore. Looking for the team car, and his teammate is going to give him a back wheel. Well, he was, but now he's losing the plot a little bit. There's the Belgian team mechanic. We thought he was all right. He looked very calm. Then he realised he needed a back wheel. It's a long, long time for these riders to be behind. And in junior racing, there will be no waiting. They will know that he's out the back, and they will absolutely drill it and get rid of him. That's the way junior racing works. There is nothing, there's no etiquette like the World Tour. So a problem for the Italian rider. I think it's... Well, let's see what happens here. They were all riding, and suddenly one of the American riders took a rider down. What was it? It's not his problem, just someone hit his back wheel. And around 30 riders hit the deck. Wasn't his problem. Well, the cars are being told to go on. The convoy is going to be in a bit of a mess. And Remco Evenepoel, if he wins this race now, he is certainly a super rider. His teammate trying to help him back. Stephen Patton. Massive crashes in this race today. Some big touches of wheels. And Remco Evenepoel trying to come back. The commissars will keep a very strong eye on his team car this afternoon, as they try to bring him back into the race. Well, at the front, no one is going to wait. I reckon he's lost 2 minutes or so there. If he crosses 2 minutes with the climb that's coming up, then this rider is the new Merckx. In junior racing, you take your chances and they will absolutely fly now. There is no waiting. They will do everything they can to distance every single rider. Anyone who's feeling good at the front of this race will attack hard up this next climb, and we are almost in Turpins. Those of you who disagree, I'm sure I'll hear on Twitter at UCI_cycling, at Ant McCrossan, but in junior racing, you're pretty much told if you hear a crash, attack. That's how it works. So a group of maybe 25, 30 riders at the front of the race, and they are making their way onto the climb. This is the climb, 2.6 kilometers to Nagdewald. Now really it's all about these riders and whether they can take advantage of what's happened behind to try and put themselves in a winning position. They go over the top of this climb, then as we know it's fast all the way down into Innsbruck. A couple of little rolls along the way. At the back of the group here, number 30, Andrew Vollmer. And as we work our way through the groups, there's riders desperately trying to get back on. Team car here. And the commissaires are keeping a very close eye on what's going on at the back of this race. There's number 15 from Belgium, and that is Aaron van der Becken. At the front of the race then, from the Czech Republic, Denmark, United States of America. Just a big touch of wheels then and it took down a lot of riders. Just looking to see what nations are represented. And an attack here at the front. The Italians are looking to take advantage of what's happened behind. Germany represented Czech Republic, United States of America, who'd been riding on the front. They'd done the right thing. They tried to set things up. They have got plenty riders in the right place. Italy seem to have a few riders. One of the Australian riders, Carter Turnbull, unfortunately being dropped. So is Luke Plapp. He's also behind the race because of what's happened. And this is Remco Evenepoel. Well, he's already in the race convoy. The question is whether he can get himself all the way back to the front of the race. Carter Turnbull in difficulty, just doesn't have the legs today. Oh, there's plenty for Remco Evenepoel to chase because the team cars are here. The Shimano car is here. The Belgians are staying right behind him as he makes his way up this rise. They're trying to encourage him back into the race. They can only go so far. They can't go all the way back to the back of the peloton with him. Engelhardt's just been dropped. Bronski has also been dropped. A problem there for number 99, Ben Healy of Ireland. He's being dropped. Number 141 is being dropped. Kian Leverage. Remco Evenepoel riding. Oh, this is the side of a rider who's won nearly every race he's ridden since he started riding a bike. He's riding up this climb, I have to say, as though he's still riding on the flat as he makes his way past, well, pushes that rider out the way. There are some riders toiling their way up here, and Remco Evenepoel is riding as though it's flat. Oh, he's going past so many riders. He's catching rider after rider as he makes his way through. Number 13, Remco Evenepoel, world champion of the time trial. At the front, though, the pace is on. The Czech Republic and the Italians are putting the pace on. Eritrea represented with Benaim, I think. The American team looking strong as well, but Italy have got lots of numbers up here at the front. One of the British riders just being dropped, I think, was Ben Tullett. And if Evenepoel, anyone who can stay with him, just stay on his wheel. He's looking, he's not panicking. He panicked a little bit when he realised he needed a wheel. But since then, he's just riding a really high tempo to try and get himself back to the front of the race. Catching there, number 51, Wojciech Repa. Looks very, very good. The way he rides for his age is something to behold. He's just going past riders as though they're standing still. One rider staying with him, number 51, Wojciech Repa. He may well get himself back to the front of this race before the top of the climb. 1:35 now he is from the front. Well, all the rest of the front group have to do is ride. That's the message to them. Archie Ryan of Ireland being caught. And Remco Evenepoel picking everyone off bit by bit. Wojciech Repa is still there. Remco Evenepoel working his way back towards the front. On the front of this race now is from Denmark, Vandal. From Norway, Asaim. Also in the group, Italy, well represented. They're the ones who need to take advantage of the misfortune. Benedetti is in the front group. Fancellu, the climber, is also there. Andrea Piccolo and Antonio Tiberi. Also in the group then from the United States of America, Sean Quinn and Kevin Vermerker. In the group for Germany is Marius Meyerhofer. From the Czech Republic, in the front group, Karol Vácek of the Czech Republic. For the Netherlands, We have in the front group Casper Van Uden. From Switzerland in the front group is Alexandre Barma, and from Eritrea we have Benaim Girmay. So a strong group of riders. Some of the riders like Varcek and Girmay are riders that we thought would feature. Evenepoel now is 1 minute and 5 seconds behind the front group. So Italy putting on the pressure now to try and take this race away. Evenepoel is on his own. He's riding a time trial to try and put himself back into the World Championship road race. This rider is something else. I don't think I've seen a junior ride like this ever. He truly is something else. I mean, look at the way he's ridden. He's crossed about a minute's gap so far. Yeah, and that Belgian team car should not be there and should not be allowed. And that was very dangerous. Bit of a stupid move there by that Belgian team car, trying to help their rider. There is a little bit of a limit to helping your rider, and that was not one of them. .55 seconds now he is behind. That little time check not quite right. Evenepoel is 55 seconds now behind the leaders who are kicking on. The Italians now are riding really what the Italians should be doing, is riding as a cohesive unit and riding a team time trial until they get to the mountain in Innsbruck. That's really what the tactics should be. Instead, they're attacking each other. This race is theirs to lose now as far as tactics are concerned. They have the numbers. They have 4 riders in the front group. They have Evenepoel 55 seconds behind, and they truly should be just riding a team time trial. The rest of the nations can just combine and help. But if they let Evenepoel come back into the race, then it's them that's lost it and no one else. He goes through all the way to the front of that group, and he is just going to drag a group of maybe 25 riders to the front of the race. Where's the front group? There's the front group all the way up there. That's how far he is behind. This really is something else. Two riders now breaking away, and it's Piccolo, Andrea Piccolo, the bronze medalist in the time trial with Mayov of Germany. So Piccolo knows that he's got a chance here, so he goes clear. The Italians are not going to chase. Just wonder whether this is the right tactic, but anyway, we wait and see how it plays out. Here's Evenepoel, still with some cars to follow. But he's now got a teammate helping him out, trying to bring him back to the front of the race. Great Britain with a couple of riders in here. They've completely missed the move as well because of crashes and because of getting dropped. Ben Tullett is one of them, wearing number 87. And his teammate there, I think, is Lewis Askey, who's also in that group. In the group for Ireland is Ben Healy. And now they're in the group that you need to be in, which is the group of Evenepoel, and he's not going to give up until he gets back. The advantage then for these two riders, 30 seconds. And the American riders have let this go. Well, this group of riders really are going to cause themselves a problem, because Evenepoel is now 30 seconds behind that group, which in terms of the tactics for the Italians means that they're going to leave one of their riders out in front, being chased down by Evenepoel. And yeah, he has to do the work, but right now they really should have ridden a team time trial. Distanced him, put him on the ropes, make him chase, and all they're doing is letting one rider go up the road, albeit it's Andrea Piccolo, but we know already that Evenepoel has got a lot of speed in the legs. The American riders have also missed this. They had dominant numbers with 2 riders. They should have put a rider in that front group. If that had happened, then this race would have been very different. 31 seconds from the front group, Piccolo and Meyerhofen, to the chasing group of riders. Evenepoel doing all the work with one teammate. 33 seconds now is his deficit. He is coming back slowly but surely. The rest of these riders all sitting on the back of the group is Van der Becken of Belgium, another teammate of Evenepoel. Thanks for all your messages, loads this afternoon. Well, if you'd like to give us your prediction, what's going to happen now? At UCI_cycling, at Ant McCrossan is where you can join us this afternoon. Give us your thoughts. Are these 2 riders going to go the distance? Can they stay away? Is Evenepoel going to get back? He's now 107 behind the leaders. Well, the Italians are all looking around at each other. So the Norwegian rider goes through, Ludwig Arsheim. The gap grows to 41 seconds. Well, the group of Evenepoel has now caught the front group apart from the 2 leaders. What a ride by the young Belgian. Now he's got a gap of 1 minute 8 seconds to cross. So Evenepoel has caught a chasing group, and now he's got to catch the group just up in front. So we've got the group of the Italians at 45 seconds, and now Evenepoel catches another chasing group, so they're 1 minute 9 seconds down. And the 2 leaders, Piccolo and Meyerhofen. Still a tremendous ride to catch that group already. The question is whether he's going to get any help whatsoever. Coming back then, Luke Plapp has caught the group of Evenepoel. This is the group of the Italian riders, and is Evenepoel in here? This has suddenly swelled. I think he may well have caught them, you know. Let's take a little look. So there are 2 leaders. The Americans, the group of Italians, and on the back, is that the Belgian rider Evenepoel? This has swelled considerably now. One minute now behind, we're hearing on Radio Tour, is Evenepoel. This is the chasing group on the road, and it does look like this group has swelled majorly with that catch. There's the next group behind. Is that the group of Evenepoel? So there we go. On the road, we have the group of the two leaders, Piccolo and Mayhoff, and behind them the group of all the Italians. That's swelled in numbers, riders coming back. And then behind that, the group of Evenepoel, who is still at 1 minute and 8 seconds. So 55 seconds for our two leaders. This is the two of them, Piccolo and Mayhoff. The group at 54 is the group of the rest of the Italians, which has now swelled in numbers, with the Eritrean as well, Benaim Geremay. I think he's going to ride this next climb very, very strongly. We've got 2 laps coming up of the finishing circuit, and we're not too far away from there now before we come through the line, go out onto the climb and up the rise for the first time. That climb of around about 8 kilometers, taking us from 580 meters to 1,032 meters above sea level. But because this group has swelled in numbers, I think Evenepoel could get back to this group. Here they are. In fact, they are coming back to the group behind the two leaders. Just a few seconds now behind the group. Now, junior racing doesn't have race radio, so Evenepoel is now going to have to find out whether there's anyone up the road when he does get there. And the Norwegian rider on the front going clear, Ludwig Asheim. When he sees Evenepoel, he should just swing off the front and say, it's all down to you now. 55 seconds for the two leaders. Andrea Piccolo on the front. Well, we know how good he is. He's in the aero tuck, making his way downhill. About 10k to go to the start of the finishing circuit. The Italians all look around. Well, their plan is working as far as they're concerned. And suddenly everyone's looking around at each other. The Danish riders are chasing. Just interesting to see the tactics in this junior race. The Danes should just wait, say to the Belgians, chase. It's your job, you do it. Past the welcome sign in the fields. Luke Plapp of Australia just being dropped now. Starting to feel the tempo. Let's see if he can get back on here on the descent. Let's just feel the pace. That sign we just saw at the side of the road, I've been wondering what the significance of it's been over the last few days, and in total 60,000 lettuce have been planted to make that sign. It's an area of 5,500 square meters. The farmers in Tower have planted it, and it's a mix of 2 different lettuce, one red, one green. Well, look at this. The Belgians now on the front. Everyone's having to follow Remco Evenepoel, who has gone to the front, and now he's going to try and close a 1 minute gap. 54k to go, 1 minute, and he's going to try and do it on his own. Everyone following the wheels. Now we'll find out just how good this young Belgian is. He's got a problem, Remco Evenepoel. I think he's got a puncture. He's calling for assistance at the front of the race, unless he's asking for his teammates. No, he asked for his teammates to come up. He keeps looking down at his back wheel.